So today I will be talking about workflows, just kind of the best way to build your computer vision deployment pipelines. Before it was mainly focused on images, and now I'm going to be going through a couple cool new features we've added for video support. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to create a custom workflow. If you haven't seen this, this is a workflow editor. And to start off, I'm going to do an object detection model. You can see here, I don't have any models trained yet. This is a new workspace. So I'm going to use a public model that does the rock, paper, scissors, since that's pretty easy and straightforward to demo on a webcam. And then I'll actually add some visualization steps. So I'm going to add a bounding box visualization and then the label as well. Let's pretend I can type. So now I have my first workflow. Let me save it. One thing to note is now when you go to deploy, you can actually run it on a video. And here I'll actually go ahead and copy the output. One here you can see I can actually visualize an output image. So I'm going to go to the response block and make sure I have an output named output image. So here, in the label visualization, I'm going to go ahead and show it running on a video stream. So just dumping this Python snippet directly, I'm going to go ahead and comment out the visualization code and go ahead and run this workflow. It's going to take a second. It initially pulls the model weights. And now you can see this running. So I have my rock, I have my paper, I have my scissors. Sweet. So now actually, cool, it works. Let's actually go ahead and do some more with this. So just to make this easier to demo for me, the actual camera, if I put up my right hand, it shows on the left-hand side. So I'm going to flip it so horizontally, so it's easier for me to demo. So this is going to take the input image and flip it. And then I'm going to actually go and change all these other steps to actually use this flipped image. So using the bounding box and the visualization here. So next steps, the actual interesting video stuff is we're going to add video support. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually see how many objects are crossing the line. To do this, I can add a byte tracker block. And so this time, every time it sees an object in the frame, across different frames, it will still keep track of it as the same object. And this is a really powerful new feature of the workflows that we've added. And so here it requires video metadata. To do this, I can go in the input block and click this video parameter. Now it kind of keeps track of this video state across different frames. And going back to my byte track block, I can go ahead, actually connect it. So it's all configured. There's more optional parameters, but I won't mess around with that here. And so now it's able to assign a unique integer or a unique tracker to every object it sees. Let's actually do something interesting and actually count detections crossing a line. So I'm going to use the same video metadata. Now I actually need to draw the line. And so it requires 2 points, point 1, point 2. We have a RoboFlow tool that I actually played around with earlier. It's called polyzone.com. I'll drop it in chat. We're adding it to the UI editor, but right now kind of need an external tool to get the coordinates. So here I have my 2 points. Go ahead and copy them here. And I will go back and drop them in the UI. So now I have my line that I'm planning to draw. Then finally, let's visualize it. So let me add the line counter visualization. I'm going to use the same line that I had previously. And then I'm going to count how many objects went in and out. So here from my line counter block itself, I have the objects coming in. And I also want to add a reference to the objects coming out. And then finally, I actually want to have the labeled images. So instead of using the input image, I'm going to use the label visualization. So now taking a step back, I have a complete workflow where it actually takes the input image, flips it since I'm running it on a webcam. Typically don't need this step. Then I'm going to run my model. I'm doing a rock, paper, scissors model, visualizing the bounding boxes and the labels of things I found. And then I'm actually this new functionality we added, which is the byte tracker block and counting objects crossing the line. One final thing we'll want to do, as you know, is we're visualizing the output image. Before it was referencing the label visualization, but I actually want to go down and reference the line counter visualization. So let's see what this does. Going back, it's the same workflow, so I'll just run this exact same script. It's going to take a second. Now you can see there's a line. I can put my hand up and it tracks how many things go in. The model's not the best. Let me use my left hand and out. Sweet. So that's one way to do line counter. You can imagine you can actually count cars driving down the street, items going down the assembly line, have some more cool demos to show in a second. Next thing, I won't build it live, but we do have a time and zone. Let me actually switch to the workspace where I've pre-built this out. So as you can see here, I've been playing around with a bunch of different workflows, but this time and zone does something similar where it runs my object detection model. But this time, instead of counting objects crossing a line, you can define a zone and it will count how long an object spent inside of the zone. And it visualizes the zone itself. So actually going ahead to run this workflow, I'll copy this snippet. Let's make sure I have the annotated image in the output. Looks good. And you can see here there's a zone. And this time it actually tells you how long the object is in the zone itself. So it counts a couple of seconds. If the object leaves the frame, comes back, starts back again. And you can have multiple objects too. Let me see if I can do this on a demo. No, it doesn't like my boxes. Yeah, let's go. So as you can see, lots of functionality there. And one other thing I can show is I have pre-built a webcam that does actual double lines. And so you can imagine you can have both multiple zones, multiple lines in the same image. And so we'll have a final pre-built demo here. And I will have all these templates available to share after the demo. So let me see, I was looking for an annotated frame, actually renamed it to output image. Let's try this one more time. So as you can see here, there's two lines. So this one will actually count it crossing this line and then going down here. Oh, let me switch hands. And then you can actually count it going this line. Oh, my rock is not happy. Sweet. So as you can see here, one final thing I wanted to show is I have a more complex workflow running on an RTPS stream. I have a camera set up outside the office looking at the video stream. I will show you what that is doing in a second once I find it. If I can find it. Oh, it's in a different, too many projects. Sweet. So kind of looking at this more complex workflow, I am running a vehicle detection model. Since it's a pretty high up view, I'm actually slicing the images into chunks of 1,000 by 1,000. And then I'm actually stitching that back together. So if any of you guys know the Sahi method, this is what it's doing. So it's actually able to find small objects in the image. Then I'm actually going ahead doing the byte check block to do both the counting objects crossing a line and doing time and zone. And then I'm visualizing both objects crossing the line and how long stuff is in the zone. So picture's worth 1,000 words. Let's see what's happening on the street outside the office. So you can see here, it has cars driving through, it counts how long they're in the zone, and it's also counting how many of them cross the line out here. One thing to note is that this model I just found on Universe, it's a public model. You can actually go ahead and collect frames of this image as it's running, and then over time, retrain the model and continuously improve it so it actually is able to perform better. So as you can see here, it's not picking up all the cars. That's something I can fine tune so it has increased performance. But yeah, this is the workflows demo. Happy to answer any questions.